Zafir Books presents The Crofter's Daughter, written by Eileen Ramsay and read by Carolyn Bonnyman. Stay tuned after the audiobook for an exclusive sample from Eileen's heartwarming saga, The GI Bride. This audiobook is brought to you by Memory Lane, a special community for the very best saga writing. Join us today at memorylane.club. Chapter 1. In the spring of 1900, Mairi McGloughlin discovered that she loved the land. She was just 9 years old. In fact, she had just passed, not celebrated, her 9th birthday. With her best friend, Violet Anderson, she was walking home from the village school. They skipped and walked down Pansy Lane, and then Mairi saw the first of the year's snowdrops, virginal white, the lovely heads standing straight and tall on delicate stems, their dark green leaves cradling them protectively. "Look, Violet," she said, her voice full of awe. "Snowdrops." Violet skipped on the spot, not losing the beat. 78, 79, they're just flowers, Mairi. 84, 85. Mairi knelt down in the damp soil beside the flowers, and she spoke for herself. "No, they're not, Violet. They're more. They're harbingers of spring." She was top of the class and had seen that posh word in one of the Dominie's reserved books. "Harbingers of spring," she said again, liking the sound of the phrase. "Look at them, Violet. They've come up out of the ground and they're pure white. The muck hasn't stuck to them." "Ah, you're daft, so you are, Mairi McGloughlin. Of course dirt doesn't stick to them." "Well, why not, since you're so smart, Violet Anderson? Why doesn't muck stick to them?" For a moment, Violet was perplexed. She had not expected to be questioned on something unquestionable, on an irrefutable fact. "It just doesn't. Because God made them." "Aye, and he made Billy Suitor too, and all the mud in Angus is stuck to him." At the thought of Billy Suitor, the little girls dissolved into laughter and ran giggling down the path, all thoughts of flowers and muck and their place in the great scheme of things gone from their minds. They parted at the end of the lane. Mairi had to continue another mile to the farmhouse, but Violet's father's tied cottage sat 4 square to the road, almost beside the path. Her mother was in the garden throwing potato peelings to the hens that bustled frenetically around her feet, as if terrified that there would not be enough for all. "There's scones just out the oven, lassies," she called as she went on feeding the hens, "and a nice jug of fresh milk in the larder, our Violet." Mairi sighed. Phemie Anderson was a fine baker. "I can't today, Mrs. Anderson. I've a pot of soup to put on for the week." The pot of soup would have been ready if her brother Ian had not let the fire go out. Ian's head was usually busy with anything but what he was supposed to be doing, and yesterday he had got so involved in watching a blackbird building a nest that he had forgotten not only to keep the range stoked, but also to bring in the cows. Mairi had gone for the cows, but too late to save her brother from their father's righteous anger. This morning Ian had been too sore to go to school, and Mairi had lied and told the Dominie that he had a cold. Mr. Morrison had said nothing, but at home time he had given Mairi a lovely bound Shakespeare. "If Ian is still unwell tomorrow, tell him to read Richard II, and I want him to go on with his history book and the composition he was going to write for me." Glowing, Mairi had put the precious book carefully in her bag. She and Ian, and the teacher's horrible son Robin, were the only children who were allowed to read the reserved books. Ian and Robin had fought for position of top of the class for 7 years, since the day they had entered the little school together. Sometimes Robin was top, sometimes Ian. Robin always beat Ian in the arithmetic examinations, and Ian beat Robin at compositions. Aggregate scores were what counted for top place, and Mairi was hoping that Ian would be ducks. Then maybe, just maybe, Father would allow him to stay on at the school beyond the date when most farm boys left.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?